Rabies. Just saying the word conjures up images of vicious barking, foaming at the mouth, and inevitable death. So if rabies sounds scary to you, you are not wrong. In Sarawak, over 60 areas have been declared rabies affected. The outbreak first began in July 2017, and as of May 2019, rabies has taken the lives of 17 people. With Sarawak being our closest neighboring state, how safe are we from rabies? Rabies is a zoonotic tropical disease that is often almost fatal once clinical symptoms surface. The disease is transferred from infected animal to human and can take up to 1 year of incubation before it is detected. The virus itself is mainly transferred from the bites or scratches of infected animals. However, you can also contract rabies if an infected animal's saliva gets into contact with open wounds or your eyes, nose, or mouth.
Upon infection through bites or scratch and things like that, the virus will actually goes into our body system. They will actually multiply in the muscles, and then after that they will find their way through the nerve to the brain. And then once the virus have reached the brain, then they will continue multiplying and there will be manifestation of clinical sign, they call it.
But if the infected already shows clinical symptoms of the disease, death is almost certain.
So basically, rabies is a disease that is quite devastating, because at the end of the day, those who are showing any clinical sign that is resembled of rabies would definitely will end their life with rabies, because very rare people recover from a clinical rabies.
According to the World Health Organization, rabies accounts for around 60,000 deaths annually, mostly in Asia and Africa. Dog bites contribute to 95% of worldwide rabies cases among humans. There is presently no cure for rabies once patients already show clinical symptoms of the disease. Symptoms may include aggression, hyperactivity, depression or anxiety, swallowing problems, and an irrational fear of water. However, the spread of the virus to the brain can be prevented if a patient is treated immediately after exposure. Washing a wound thoroughly with soap and water for 15 minutes and getting post-exposure treatments for rabies can be critical to saving lives.
If the clinical sign has been shown, there is no way we can treat those rabies. But it is a preventable disease. That is a good point that we should capitalize. That means rabies can be prevented by the use of vaccine, either pre-exposurely or post-exposurely, but it depends on how advanced the rabies disease has progressed. If we manage to get the prevention or the vaccine in before the onset of clinical sign, we can treat the exposure from becoming a disease.
So the question remains, is Sabah at risk of a rabies outbreak anytime soon? And what can we do to prevent it? Well, according to the Department of Veterinary Services, or DVS, Sabah is still rabies-free.
Yeah, as I said just now, Sabah, we are still free. We are glad. It's not just because we free without doing anything. We have done a lot of things to prevent rabies occurrence or to prevent spread of rabies into Sabah. And we are still doing.
The virus has not been detected in Sabah since 1881, and the DVS hopes to maintain this status. Preventive measures such as surveillance and sample testing by the department are conducted regularly in the state. But against a backdrop of growing concerns in Sarawak, DVS also carries out a state-level simulation exercise regularly to better equip staff and increase capacity should a rabies outbreak occur.
Basically, we have prepared, we have planned for managing rabies if found to be here in Sabah. Now, the simulation activity or the simulation exercise is to test the plan if it is workable, or even to find any way to improve whatever written material that we have. So that is why the exercise is very important.
We need to conduct this simulation is actually one, we need to make sure that our own officers and the relevant authorities also involved. So they are in the know-how or they are ready. So with this simulation, is actually it's like a revision for everybody. In the event, if this disease happen to penetrate our border and come into Sabah.
DVS has been enacting preventive policies since 1995 for import control on animals in an effort to keep the disease from entering the state. The department also organizes awareness campaigns to educate the public on how to identify rabid animals and what to do when bitten.
We do a lot of awareness program actually. That last year itself, we have done 25 awareness program in the district bordering Sarawak state, which is actually Beaufort district, Tawau, and also Keningau.
Ultimately, cooperation from the public is vital in ensuring that Sabah is safe from a rabies outbreak.
If they saw any animal that has a clinical sign that is resembled to rabies, they should report to us so that we can verify whether it is true rabies cases or just a false alarm. We need their cooperation. You are the ear and eyes for our department. Play your role efficiently so that we will be able to maintain our rabies-free status since 1881. So
We want everyone to cooperate. Everyone have a role to play. So that is why I urge the public, everyone, to work with us, to be part of our ear and eyes for that matter.
It is very difficult to completely stop the spread of rabies. However, we can control it by taking intentional steps in the right direction. This includes vaccinating and neutering our pets, reporting any sightings of rabid animals, and educating ourselves on what to do when we, or someone we know, is bitten by a rabid animal. Preventing the spread of rabies requires effort at every level: global, regional, national, state, and community. The fight against rabies will be long and difficult, but as long as we stay vigilant and do our part, a rabies-free world might just become a reality.